Forgotten Mists of Bridlewood, Chapter 10, North.
Just don't do what you did with Twilight,
Sunset told herself as she sat in the passenger seat of the Scouticus Maximus, as Sprout drove the vehicle north towards the Crystal Empire. Right now, it was nothing but Arctic tundra, but in another couple of hours they would be able to make out the Crystal Mountains on the bottom of the horizon. She glanced back at the 3 students she had selected for the trip. Onyx, Bridlewood's resident beat poet, her frequent partner Bongo, Jasper, and of course, Misty. With 8 ponies, the vehicle was at its max capacity. However, sleeping was right below what Sunset would consider cramped. It had been just about 24 hours since they had left Bridlewood. Jasper was thrilled to have been picked at first, but after he hadn't gotten the best sleep, he was wondering if this had been such a good idea. He hadn't complained yet, but Sunset noticed how his demeanor had changed. He was ready to be out of the Scouticus and have some space to himself again.
I'm gonna go get some air,
Jasper said to the other 3. Sunset saw him unbuckle his seatbelt, go towards the back, and push the roof hatch open. He climbed up the ladder and went to sit with Zip and Sunny in the somewhat chilly but fresh air. After a moment, Onyx and Bongo followed him, leaving Misty alone in the back, who was reading the spellbook she had gotten along with the rest of the class on their first day. Sunset unbuckled her seatbelt and went into the back, taking a seat across from Misty, who had watched her classmates go up top, then returned her attention to her book.
Not interested in going up yourself?
Sunset asked her.
It's a little chilly, and I think any pony else up there would make it a bit cramped again. And honestly, the space is nice,
Misty replied. That was the truth. Honestly, if the engine was as muffled as it was in here, and the weather was pleasant enough, she was sure that a few of them, Jasper especially, would prefer to sleep in the cargo bed. But the weather wasn't exactly ideal for sleeping outside, and in another few hours it would likely be cold enough for everyone but Zip to come inside. Pegasi could handle the cold much better. Or, on the other hand, perhaps not. Jasper had taken a liking to the most basic alteration spells. Maybe he could keep it warm back here.
I'm still a bit surprised you picked me to come along, Miss Shimmer. I mean, I know how much I've been struggling with the basics. I figured you'd select some pony more talented,
Misty admitted.
Misty, I wish I could say I know what it's like to be you. That I've walked in your hoofsteps, that I struggled with basic magic at one point. But I can't. But that doesn't mean that I don't believe that every pony has their place. Just because you're struggling with your magic now doesn't mean that you'll be any less valuable on this field trip. You're another set of hooves. I'm honestly surprised that more unicorns aren't struggling like you are, because this is the first time in generations that magic has been back. But, just like every other one of my students, I'm going to help you find your place.
Misty smiled at her.
Thanks, Miss Sunset. I'm trying my best, I promise.
Chapter 11, Field Trip. Sunset had her neck craned to the right of her seat in the back as the descent into the blizzard surrounding the Crystal Empire finally leveled out. Sprout had to weave around several crystal clusters sticking up out of the snow, and a couple of minutes later, he slowed to a stop, setting the parking brake, and began to unbuckle himself from his seat.
Alright, class,
Sunset began after she had unbuckled herself, immediately going to the floor compartments in between the seats and opening them. She passed out the folded garment bags out to the respective unicorns that matched the name tags.
You've all been fitted to your cold weather gear. If you feel you need to take some of it off indoors, you can do so, but keep any parts you take off in your pack so you don't lose them. Also, the radio headsets. Those stay on at all times. Each group will have a channel, and the emergency channel will be one. That overrides all other audio feeds. Clear?
Sunset got affirmative nods and responses from her chosen students, who began to put on their gear in the confines of the passenger section. Once every pony was dressed, they exited out into the snow. Once again, the eerie quiet that accompanied the eye of the storm was downright unsettling, especially to the unicorns who had not been here before.
Freaky,
Jasper commented, looking up at the towering cyclone of snow that surrounded the city.
Alright, class, assignments. Bongo, Jasper, you're with Zip in the library. You'll be helping her sort and pack up books. That'll be the vast majority of what we'll be taking back. You're on channel 2. I will be with Sunny in the castle right up there. We'll be on channel 3. Misty, You're helping Sprout continue exploring one of the residences we've uncovered and bringing back anything of significance. You two will be on Channel 4. Onyx, you have the first watch and patrol with the Scouticus. Unload the empty containers and help load them back up as the other groups fill them up. Stay on Channel 1 and periodically check in with the other channels.
Sunny couldn't help but be impressed with the efficiency with which Sunset directed her small class. If her magic lessons were so clear and concise, the unicorns of Bridlewood were likely making considerable strides in their magical studies.
Oh, couple more things. If you're outside for long, cast basic spells to keep your horns warm, or use the fleece warmers in your kit. If you get chilled and need to warm up, return to the vehicle. It will be idling continuously. Lastly, if for some reason something catastrophic should happen, you've all been instructed on how to set up the emergency transponders right up there.
Sunset instructed, pointing to the 6 steel rods with cylinders in the front of the Scouticus's cargo bed.
Set one up, but do not under any circumstances leave the safety of the vehicle. The chances of you making it out of the storm on hoof are slim to none. We have enough food to last all 8 of us for 3 weeks, and Zephyr Heights, Maritime Bay, and Bridlewood will all send help if they don't hear from us in half that time. Clear?
Again, the headmare got nods all around.
Alright, in that case, welcome to the northernmost city of ancient Equestria. I'm hoping we learn a lot here. First break is in 2 hours for dinner. Obviously, be very careful and be mindful of your chaperones, which are Sprout, Zip, Sunny, and myself.
With that, every pony went to their separate radio channels and split off into their respective groups. Bongo and Jasper followed Zip towards the large 2-story library to the right. Misty and Sprout went towards a half-buried house on the other side of the street. Onyx opened the back of the trailer to start to pull out the empty cargo containers, and Sunset followed Sunny through the snow towards the Crystal Castle. Thankfully, their route inside hadn't been reburied due to the absence of blowing snow and wind, and they made their way up the stairs and into the Crystal Heart Chamber.
So, what are we after this time, if most of the trailer is going to be taken up by the books in the library?
Sunset asked, pulling off her goggles and mask once they were inside, with Sunny doing the same.
I'd like to reserve at least 1 container for anything we can find that belonged to the royal family. Pictures, journals, things of that sort. I thought we'd start off where I last left off, Princess Flurryheart's room.
Sunny told her.
Well, you probably know this place better than I do, so lead the way.
Sunset said, waving her ahead.
I was only here like twice. First time was stealing a crown. Alright, here we are,
Sprout said, with Sunset's student Misty right behind him, as they came up to the front door of a half-buried crystal structure.
Luckily, last time we were here, Sunset melted the snow around the door. Otherwise, we'd have to climb in through the 2nd-story window. So, what kind of things are we looking for, Mr. Cloverleaf?
Misty asked, as she pulled the door open and they stepped inside.
If it looks like it would look good in a museum, let me know, and we'll set it aside for packing. Photos, books. First time we found an intact suit of ancient pony armor.
Misty nodded and started to look around, waiting for a good opportunity to slink away. Maybe she should have asked Sunset to be put in the library group. But then again, there would have been more ponies to work around there. Here, there was just Sprout, and that would make it easier. Besides, there were more places to put books than in a library. She'd keep an eye out for any bookshelves and closets.
Alright, just remember what Opaline wanted in exchange for cutie mark, Misty. Powerful magic spells. Class 5.
Oh, I figured she would do that. And since she's with Sprout, it'll probably be very easy. Anywho, let's get on to our attentive donators. Top donators: Jessie Smith, *630, BadassWaffle, Onlyonething, Ceru, Orion, and Caladis. Matchback, JockeTF, Luciisu, Darkside, Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Pastel, Skies, Austin, Rolan, Sorbet, Merchant, Omicron, Lyra, Runeside, Will, Kristen, Wiki, Rysel, Shadowmoon, Luigi, Chancellor Crust, Big Smoke, Bobcat, Murder Princess, Jet, Little Mighty, Solar Symphony, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.